Why am I weighing myself before and after my run? Stay tuned to find out. Hi, I'm Tanis and welcome to the channel. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm Tanis Bolton. I'm an ultra runner from Canada, living in Paris, Ontario. This week on the channel, we're going to go over one of my biggest training weeks ever, as well as give you some tips and tricks on how to figure out if you're taking in enough hydration during your training runs and or for your races. So let's get started. As you know from last week, I'm still nursing a bit of a sprained ankle. Now, by the end of last weekend, I was able to have a bit of a normal training cycle with 2 runs in a row, like a Saturday, Sunday run, but it was pretty tender and hard to actually run on uneven ground. So this week it's come so much further along. So Monday, I did respect the fact that my ankle was kind of a little sore from my run on Sunday, which was a 2-hour run, so I took Monday off. Tuesday, I was back to my normal routine, an easy 10 kilometers at lunch and an uphill treadmill at night. The uphill treadmill I did cut a bit short because it also felt a little bit too hard on my ankle. Kept it to 20 minutes, but I started with my first heat training session, which was using the sauna blanket. This is my first year experimenting with official heat training. Normally I just coincidentally do it by taking hot baths after most of my hard runs. Now on Wednesday, I was invited to join my friend Tina on one of her peak training weeks and do some hill repeats over at Twos Falls again. So you've definitely seen this more than once. I was happy to get out to do 6 repeats, totaling 540 meters of elevation. I did try to pick it up and try to do a bit of a workout, as I've been emphasizing getting some speed training in during this cycle. However, my ankle just would not let me. Didn't have enough push. I really feel that I didn't have the power in that foot yet. I thought about doubling for Thursday. The smarter side of my brain clicked in thinking, well, I just had a pretty easy week last week. So I decided to just do it easy. 12 kilometers, so make it a bit longer than my average 10 kilometer run that I would do on that day. Thursday is really the first day that I felt normal. I wasn't compensating at all for my ankle. Now Friday was a day off as per usual, going into the long run weekend. Now on to Saturday, here we're going to talk a bit about hydration levels and nutrition for ultra marathon. So here you see me weighing myself. No, I don't care about my actual weight, but what I'm truly looking at is if I've lost weight within a single run. So this is one of the simplest ways you can find out if you're taking on enough hydration during your long runs. And this is our launch. Good fucking thing. All right, so we're going back out to K2 today. I recruited Rob to come with me today. Let's see if we can see some turkeys. So for this run, I hit up 4.5 hours in Dundas Valley. I meant it to be 4, but I got a little carried away and went a bit too far. And during that run, it was 16 times K2. So I hit these repeats over and over and over again for 3 hours. It was a great training stimulus, and with my goal of hitting 1,500 meters of vert or 1,500 meters of elevation for that run. All right, so we're on the 16th rep. I'll be at over 1,200 meters of vert for this run so far. Then I'll have about an hour of easier, maybe a couple more hills to round this up to 1,500, if not a little bit more, depending on how the legs feel. It's actually the first humid day out here. This is the first real day of summer training. So
definitely good to feel that. Hopefully my hydration has been enough. So far I've gone through about a little bit more than 2 liters of water at 2 hours and 50. So we're gonna hit the one last downhill pretty hard. So overall, the workout's going well. I definitely do notice my ankles still, it's like 80%. Like it doesn't necessarily hurt, but I can't really push hard on it. So I'm gonna keep pushing it, finish off this run, and enjoy this beautiful day. Okay, so finishing up my 4-hour run. It's actually a 4 hours and 20 minutes run, because I went out further than I thought because I was running kind of slow today. So I'll definitely take a little bit off of tomorrow's to compensate for that. So yeah, let's see where we're at. $1,497 meters. Come on. Okay, I gotta do 1,500. Let me go do 2 minutes. I know where a hill is. I gotta round that up. Let's go. Okay, done. Let's go home.
So during this run, I took on 3 liters of water. So I had bottles in the front and I had some ditch behind a tree so I could refill as I went through the loop. I actually lost 2 pounds during that run. So what that means is I've lost 2 pounds of water weight. Now, we know for sure that dehydration is the #1 thing that will decrease performance. So now that I know I lost 2 pounds, what do I do with that number? I take that number on top of what I actually drank and do a calculation. Now, 1 pound is equivalent to 16 ounces. So I lost 2 pounds, so that's 2 by 16 ounces. So that's 32 ounces of water loss or fluid loss during that run. That means that I needed to be taking in 32 more ounces within that run total. So then I could take that and divide it by how much, or the length of my run, and figure out how much I took in versus how much I should have taken in. So for that run, since I took in 3 liters, I should have been taking in an extra 250 milliliters per hour. That would have given me 1 liter per hour in these conditions. Doing this on one run isn't necessarily enough. I need to look for patterns for my body. So as I do this over 3-4 runs and I keep track of the conditions for those runs, then I can get a better picture or a better guess at how much I actually need, so I won't be dehydrated and losing performance during the race. One thing to note is I wasn't taking in just pure water that whole time. We definitely don't want to take on too much water or we will run into issue like hyponatremia. I made sure half of my fluids also contained electrolytes. I usually like to use Scratch. I find it's a really muted flavor. It sits awesome. It doesn't give you flavor fatigue or palate fatigue, not as strong of a flavor as something like a Gatorade would be. And then from there, I'm also taking on some salt stick tabs to supplement any extra sodium that I might need. And that also helps with fluid retention and not having to pee every 2 seconds. So what do I do for nutrition while I'm running? For ultramarathons up to 50 kilometers, you can mostly fuel with gels. So on top of my fluids, I do need a certain amount of sugars to burn because your body can only store so much as glycogen. So once you go through your glycogen stores, which is at about 90 minutes of activity, then you now need to be taking on external sources to keep your body fueling, to have the energy to keep going, and to not bomb. Now, the current literature supports that we should be taking on 90 to 120 grams of carbs per hour. Now that's a lot. Don't just go do that all of a sudden, or you're gonna be running into the bushes your whole long run. But you can build your stomach's capacity up to carry that amount. So I typically take in about 80 to 90 grams per hour, and I find that works well for me. I'll be slowly working on putting in more, but I don't have any issues right now, so I don't really need to force that. Now I'll take in a gel every 30 minutes, and those gels between 30 and 40 grams of carbohydrates. I typically take on Endurance Tap, which is a maple syrup based gel. But recently that packaging has been getting a bit out of control, and now they do a double gel in one pack, and it's just too big. So I'll be switching brands, but they're all quite similar. So I'm experimenting with caffeinated gel. Stay tuned for progress on that. So far I've tried Precision Nutrition, Spring Energy, and Martin, and unfortunately I really like the Martins, which are definitely the most expensive caffeinated gel. And then to cap off the week, I went back out to Dundas Valley on Sunday and did another 2.5 hours with Tina. Since it was her peak week, I decided I ended up running with her twice this week to help her get all her mileage and elevation in, which was really fun. I was able to hit another 600 meters of elevation for that day. So that makes 2,100 meters of elevation over the weekend and 2,900 meters elevation for the week. So one of my goals is to be able to hit the race elevation within my week, and that's part of my training, and I've been building up to that all season. Now going forwards, I want to be able to, in a couple weeks, hit my peak elevation for the race with running 2,900 meters in just a weekend, so over 2 runs. And this week I was able to run 11.5 hours, which I haven't been able to do in about 5 years. So I'm really excited about that. So yeah, that's what I do for fueling for my ultramarathons. Stay tuned, because in a couple weeks we'll be heading to Blue Mountain for impromptu training camp, and then to the Grand Canyon. As always, like and subscribe for more.